I'm going to show you a 5-minute exercise sequence that you can do every day. You can do it every hour, in fact. You're not going to overload your body. In fact, you're going to improve your overall spinal mechanics. This exercise sequence works on the 3 groups of muscles that are involved in spinal mechanics. If you're not sure what those are, check out my video on the posterior chain spinal mechanics. So now let's get into the 5-minute routine that could change your back. We want to stick with the principles that tightness needs to be relaxed before weakness needs to be strengthened, before weakness can be strengthened. So, seeing this complex and recognizing the psoas complex and recognizing the quadratus lumborum, the diaphragm that's involved in here, simple, practical way could be taking your feet. I'm going to take one foot. I'll take my right foot behind me, not too much. My left foot outside because I'm going to be leaning to the side, and then get myself stabilized, and if I need to hold onto a chair I can do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my arm overhead. What does this do? One, it stretches the lats, the latissimus dorsi, connecting to the thoracodorsal fascia. Side bending here too helps stretch the quadratus lumborum, and because my hip is backwards slightly, again I'll show it this way, see how it's slightly back? Because it's slightly back and side bending, I'm getting an elongation into my psoas. Then I can come down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some deliberate breathing into my my right ribs. Breathe through your nose, out your mouth, in through your nose, out your nose, but should be slow and deliberate. Maybe a bit uncomfortable, just go as far as you can, and I'm going to keep sliding downward. Just let the breathing in and exhaling loosen me up. So all this time I'm getting the elongation into my psoas, iliacus, quadratus lumborum, exercising my diaphragm, getting a stretch, elongation, and movement into my diaphragm. After 7, 8 breaths, could be longer, slowly straighten up. Now the nice thing is this puts me also on an eccentric contraction. I mean, in order to prevent me from falling over, this side needs to hold on a little bit. So while I'm still stretching it, there's still a little bit of an exercise to it. It's called an eccentric contraction, which is going to be very healthy, which is a very good, robust way of exercising muscles. It creates a very simple, safe load, but the muscles have a very good response to it, as well as the tendons. Then what I'm going to do, I'll switch and do the same thing. Raise my arm, and I'm putting my arm over my forehead, not too far back right now. Eventually we can get that back, but I'm going to go here, and I'm sliding my hands down, breathing into my left ribs. So then after 8, 10 breaths, slowly come back up. So now I've gotten that stretch, that elongation. I've been stretching those muscles that tend to be shortened during the flexion phase. Now the extension, the posterior chain. What do we do about that? Well, I'm going to take my hands and stick them into my butt, because I want to be able to feel it, and I want to squeeze against my fingers. Squeeze against my fingers. Squeeze against my fingers. Now, can you do it one at a time? Squeeze, squeeze. That can be difficult. If it's difficult, that just reflects the imbalance in the particular weakness of the glutes. But what I'm going to try to do is we're going to try to keep squeezing them, relax, squeeze, relax. Then, when you get used to that, and that becomes easier, you can squeeze, heel raise. Why the heel raise? Because the heel raise and the calves are part of the posterior chain. We need to exercise the posterior chain. So now I'm going to squeeze, and this puts my spine into a slight extension, which is what we're trying to exercise, our posterior chain. Squeeze, come up. Now, You can add a little bit more to this by holding your urine. Hold your urine, squeeze your butt, raise. Now we're incorporating the core. But see, is this a core exercise? Absolutely. Because really, the nature of the posterior chain, the core muscles actually come out of the posterior chain sequence. So in many ways, the core muscles are an anterior bubbling, anterior movement of the posterior chain muscles. That's how I view them. So consequently, I hold my urine, squeeze my pelvic floor muscles, squeeze my butt muscles, raise up. Now I'm doing a very essential core exercise. Plus I'm doing posterior chain. It's not just about the core. So hold your urine, squeeze your muscles, raise up, back down. Then you can also then take a chair, add to it, and what we're going to do is we want to extend our back. We can squeeze my butt muscle, come back. Squeeze butt muscle, come back. Squeeze butt muscle, come back. Squeeze butt muscle, come back, and lower down. And then you can do that 10 times each time. Now, when this is well understood, you can easily do this in 5 minutes, 5-minute break every hour. You can then take your here, 1 minute on this side, 1 minute on this side, 1 minute of butt squeeze and heel raises. And you can practice 30 seconds to a minute of leg raises on one side, leg raises on the other, and there. You've just refreshed this whole complex, and then you can get back to work. And then in an hour, you do it again. And so this here is a very simple way of taking these principles and applying it to something. And as you do this every day throughout the day, this whole complex becomes much more efficient, and the brain is able to recruit the muscles in the most efficient way, and hopefully your mechanics get better, and ultimately pain decreases, quality of life improves, functionality improves, your movement becomes easier.